What happens when a husband reads his wife's message to her boss, "Can't wait to spend the night with you on the trip," and refuses to fight? How can quiet folders, timed pings, and public service in a lobby end a marriage cleaner than any screaming match? Why do I still believe I was right, even as the papers land in my hand? Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. My name is Yanthi Crowell. I wrote a message to my boss that said I could not wait to spend the night on the trip. It was playful and professional in my head. It was networking with Spark, the way bright women move forward. Miles read it on the counter while I sliced lemons. He asked what I meant. I said it was a joke. He asked why I hid my screen. I said privacy is healthy. He asked if I would change my hotel plan. I said career comes first. I smiled so he would hear it as common sense. He did not shout. He placed his mug on the far counter, like we were two islands. He slept in the guest room to think. I said thinking is how men avoid yes. My sister sent cheering hearts. My friend said to own the story. His mother asked me to stop posting. I said humor heals. Miles began sorting mail into neat folders and taking quiet calls with headphones. A calendar ping glowed on his watch, and he turned his wrist away. He asked that we keep things calm for Nora. I said calm is easy once a man accepts reality. He said he would handle it properly. I woke before the alarm because the apartment felt too neat. The air had a hotel smell, like someone had opened a window in the night and let my warmth out. I boiled water and set 2 mugs on the island out of habit. Then I moved his mug to the far counter. If he wanted distance, I could give architecture to it. I sliced a lemon to make my morning look like a magazine. I told myself I was not the villain for liking attention. I told myself the text to Victor was playful, not a contract. Networking with Spark. That was my phrase. Miles walked in with that quiet step he uses when the floor is lava. He took the other mug and left it on the far counter, exactly where I had put it. He asked if I slept. I said I dreamed of a room key and a promotion because my brain is loyal to my goals. He asked if I would change my hotel plan for the trip. I said career comes first. He asked what I meant in the message. I said it was a joke. Office banter, nothing graphic. I smiled while saying it so it would land as wisdom, not defiance. He poured coffee and looked at the fridge. A new sticky note was there in his neat block letters. Bring forms. I laughed and asked if we were opening a bank together. He said organization helps the mind. I said spontaneity helps love. He glanced at the stove clock, then at his phone when a small ping lit the screen. Archive room, 10:30 a.m. I said I did not know we lived in a museum. He said he liked quiet places to think. I said thinking is how men avoid yes. Nora padded in with her hair sticking out like a small crown. She asked if the trip meant new stickers. I said yes, because Mommy works hard and brings back shiny things. Miles said he would handle school pickup that week. I said I could handle it, and a night event with Victor. He looked at the lemons and said nothing. I kissed Nora's forehead and told her she was brave. I told myself I was brave too. On the subway, I reread the text thread with Victor. My line looked simple on the small screen. Can't wait to spend the night with you on the trip. No emoji. Clean. Strong. In my head, it meant late brainstorms, room service fries, a shared joke the team would never know. I told myself any adult would understand context. I told myself autocorrect added night, even if I did not remember it that way. The train squealed. I stared at the tunnel and practiced the speech I would use later if I needed it. At my desk, the open office glittered like an aquarium. I arranged my pens and set my work face. Cass wheeled her chair over and asked if everything at home was okay. I said we were fine, that Miles struggles with public life. I said he takes attention as insult when attention is a tool. Cass nodded and said, the internet can be cruel. then asked if Victor flirts with everyone. I said Victor flirts with ideas. I liked the sound of that and stored it for later. Slack hiccuped with a new thread. Someone had posted a cropped preview of my text, the part that said night and trip in the same breath. No names, just a bubble with a blush color that looked like mine. I typed that autocorrect is wild, then deleted it. I typed that team bonding is normal on offsites, then deleted that too. I settled on a neutral emoji and a comment about travel logistics. The floor stayed noisy and normal, but I felt the air sharpen around my chair. At lunch, Miles texted that he would swing by to take me out for a quick sandwich. I said yes, because I wanted to show him I lived in daylight. In the car, his headphones hung around his neck like a calm necklace. A cloud sync pop-up flashed on his phone. File uploaded successfully. He tapped it away fast like a mosquito. I said he was in a spring cleaning mood. He said backups are smart. I said backups are for people who expect disaster. He said backups are for people who plan. We ate at a little deli where the bread looks expensive. He asked if I could keep Nora off my public stories for a while. I said my stories are mine. He said Nora is not content. He did not raise his voice, and that bothered me more than anger. Back at home later, the console table had 3 neat piles of mail and 3 thin binders labeled home, auto, bank. I said sleeves for feelings again and smiled at my own joke. He slid papers in like a person sorting coins, exact and gentle. He asked when my flight left. I said early, and that Victor liked to walk the hotel before morning sessions because creative minds need movement. He said the word okay and put a lid on a pen like he was sheathing a blade. Evening arrived with kid homework and laundry clicks. Nora asked if hotel hallways echo. I said hallways love heels. She laughed and clapped. Miles read her a chapter about a fox family and kissed her hair. He moved a pillow to the guest bed. I called it dramatic, and he said he needed rest. He picked up his phone when it buzzed. The screen flashed private. He stepped into the stairwell, and I heard only, yes, understood. When he returned, he placed his phone face down and asked if we could speak after Nora slept. I said yes if he accepted that work travel includes grown-up playfulness. He said we should talk about boundaries. I said boundaries are cages for small minds. After Nora fell asleep, I opened a bottle of seltzer to make the evening look polite. I told him Victor is charismatic and that charisma is currency in my field. He asked if I would text Victor a correction or apology. I said apologizing implies guilt. He asked if I would consider a different hotel or a shared group dinner structure. I said chaperones are for teens. He rubbed the bridge of his nose like he had a headache and said he would not argue tonight. At midnight, the printer hummed and spit a single blank page. I leaned in the doorway and asked if he was printing his feelings again. He said the toner test ran by accident. I said only robots test toner after midnight. He stacked the blank on top of a small pile, not looking at me. I felt the urge to snatch one and wave it like a flag, but flags work only when the crowd is with you. I crawled into bed and scrolled. Jules had sent hearts and a draft caption. Women who climb don't beg. I liked it and then unliked it. The tap felt hot. Victor sent a late thumbs up about the trip outline. I stared at the little bubble and pictured the hotel hallway, the soft carpet, my name on a door. I told myself I deserved the part of the world that opens when you ask. The bedroom door was ajar, and I could see the stripe of light under the guest room door. It looked like a runway. I lay on my back and practiced meeting him in the morning with calm phrases. It was playful, it was networking, it was harmless. I rehearsed how to say that punishment by silence is worse than any argument. I decided I would smile. Smiles set tone. Tone wins rooms. The apartment went very quiet. In the quiet, small sounds grew teeth. The fridge clicked like a metronome. My phone buzzed on the dresser. I did not check it right away because I wanted to show myself control. Then I checked. A message from Cass. HR is sniffing around about the trip. I wrote that everything was professional. I added a sun emoji to make it light. In the living room, the wall planner caught my eye. A red circle sat 2 Fridays from now like a full stop. I asked him earlier what it was. He had said, a reminder. For what? I had asked. For something, he had said. I told myself dentist. I told myself oil change. My chest did not agree. I closed my eyes and pictured the hotel bed as a white square in a black city. I smiled again, in the dark, because beliefs need faces to stick to. Then I heard his phone buzz once, long, on the other side of the wall. The sound rattled a picture frame slightly, then died. Unknown number vibrated while the guest room door latch clicked. I reached the design firm early because I wanted to steer the morning. The open office looked like a clean aquarium. Glass walls, tidy plants, quiet keyboards. I set my notebook at an angle that said competence. I told myself that strong women set the pace. I told myself last night was noise and today was work. I opened my calendar and pretended the screen was a shield. Cass rolled up on her chair and asked if things at home were calm. I said we were fine, just negotiating normal travel stress. She asked if Victor had replied to my outline. I said he sent a thumbs up and that he trusts my judgment. Mina stopped by with coffee and asked if the text rumor was true. I smiled and said people love to misread team jokes. She said the word night makes people jump. I said autocorrect loves drama. Slack pinged with a link to a blurry screenshot from someone's phone. My bubble, the one with my color, sat on a grey background. The caption in the chat asked if anyone else had seen, "I can't wait to spend the night with you on the trip." I typed that it looked edited. I typed that I often say, "spend the night on the deck," meaning spreadsheet deck. I deleted both and sent a neutral face. Neutral faces keep paychecks. Around 10, whispers gathered the way dust finds sunbeams. A junior asked if I was excited for off-site bonding. I said I thrive on bonding when it drives results. Someone at the back laughed and said, "Victor is a good mentor." I said he mentors ideas. I kept my tone light and my shoulders easy. If I looked bored, the day would believe me. My phone vibrated on the desk. Jules sent a draft caption about ambitious women and small men. I told her to hold. She sent 3 fire emojis anyway. I flipped the phone face down and told myself silence is also power. I have learned that from Miles, even if I hate admitting it. At noon, Miles messaged that he would pick me up for a quick lunch again. I said yes. I wanted witnesses to see us practice normal. He pulled up with his quiet posture and those headphones around his neck like a soft collar. In the car, a cloud sync pop-up flashed on his screen. File uploaded successfully. He tapped it away like a gnat. I said he was in a backup mood. He said backups are smart. I said planning can be a way to punish people. He said planning keeps children safe. He asked if I would keep Nora off my stories this week. I said my stories are mine. He said Nora is not content. Then he asked about my flight time and whether I had a roommate. I said, Victor booked us all on one floor, and that proximity improves creativity. He said thanks for the information, like he was logging inventory. We ate at a small deli with cold air and perfect pickles. He asked if we could agree on fewer late-night messages with Victor. I said messaging is how modern teams move. He said he heard me. The phrase landed like a stamp. On the way back to the office, his phone lit with a contact, saved as a single emoji. He declined the call and tucked the phone into his pocket without looking at me. I took the elevator up alone to show I still shone without a handler. When I reached my floor, Slack was louder. Someone posted a cropped still from the gym hallway. Victor at the water cooler, my shoulder and frame, both of us laughing. The caption read friendly culture. The thread split under it like a forked river. I typed nothing. I adjusted a plant on my desk as if plants were my job. Gwen pinged me for a quick word in HR. I smoothed my hair and followed her down the hall. The room had soft chairs and a bowl of mints. She thanked me for my work on the trip deck, then said a concern had come up. An employee had circulated a screenshot of a text that appeared to be mine. She asked if I was okay and whether the message reflected my intent. I said it was a playful exaggeration used in team culture. She said brand bleed is real and clients read the same internet. I said private life is private. She said my posts were not private and asked me to turn off comments on the trip posts and avoid personal content with Victor until after the quarter. I said that sounded like punishing ambition. She said it sounded like protecting accounts. Her voice stayed low. The message was big. Back at my desk, the open office felt colder. I turned off comments on my last post with a click that felt like swallowing. Cass messaged a heart and asked if I was okay. I said I was fine and that people confuse brightness with recklessness. Mina asked if Miles was angry. I said he prefers calm systems to chaos, and that calm can look like distance. She nodded and returned to her screen. At 3, I checked our home webcam we sometimes use for homework hour. The camera pointed at our dining table, but in the corner I saw Miles's laptop open to a spreadsheet with initials and dates. When I leaned closer to the feed, the window minimized. A second later, a little cloud icon popped on his phone in the frame. File uploaded successfully. I felt something in my chest fold. I told myself he was tracking oil changes and library due dates. I told myself men love cells because cells make them feel tall. I rode down to the lobby for a coffee. When I came back, a group chat pinged with a new still of the text bubble, cropped tighter. The word night was highlighted by a red circle. A designer asked if this was satire. Someone else put a popcorn emoji. I typed that people should focus on client deliverables. I added a sun emoji to make it cheerful. No one laughed. Near 4, Gwen appeared at my desk in person. She asked for another quick minute. In HR, she repeated the request to cool posts and added that travel roommates would be reviewed by admin for propriety. I said propriety is a word used by people afraid of beauty. She said propriety is a word used by people who like to keep their jobs. She asked if I needed time off. I said that would reward gossip. She said it would protect me. I said I prefer the light. She said the light is fine. The lens is the problem. I left HR feeling both taller and smaller. On the way out, I passed Victor in the hall. He asked if I was still set for the trip. I said of course and that the team needed our energy. He said he trusted me to keep the mood right. I said I always do. He winked the way men think is harmless. I told myself the wink had nothing to do with anything. When I reached the sidewalk, Miles pulled up again. He said he had printer paper to buy and asked if I wanted to come. I said I had to get back upstairs. He nodded and held up a list on his phone with 3 tidy bullet points. The last one flashed with a time block. I caught the title before he moved. Notary near me. I said he liked errands. He said errands like him. He drove away facing the street. Back at home later, the console table had flipped mail stacks. He sorted them into the binders and closed each ring with a soft click. I opened my gallery to post a kitchen still. A photo of a document flickered between kid pictures and then vanished as the screen locked. I laughed too loudly and asked if he was hiding treasure. He said he was organizing. He asked again to keep Nora off my public feed. I said my followers expect family. He said our child is not a product line. Dinner was quiet, almost polite. Nora asked if hotel carpets feel like clouds. I said yes. Miles said clouds belong outside. I rolled my eyes and smiled at Nora so she would think we were fine. When dishes were done, I offered to pick up ice cream. He said he would take Nora out for a walk and asked me to rest. He spoke like a schedule. At 8, Slack chimed with a fresh link. A neighborhood page had posted a cropped screenshot of my text. The caption asked if office culture had gone too far. I typed that jokes are normal and that the internet builds mountains from dust. I watched the typing dots of strangers and felt the floor tilt under me. My phone buzzed with a calendar ping we still share. A red-circled date 2 Fridays from now, unnamed. It looked like a bullseye. I stood in the kitchen with my lemon slices and thought about shape and spin. I believed I could still win the shape. I believed spin is just another word for perspective. I put his mug back next to mine to test the distance. He walked in, moved it gently to the far counter, and thanked me for keeping dinner calm. He asked me not to post tonight. I said I would think about it. He said thank you. He took his headphones and closed the guest room door with a soft click. Manager asked for a quick word as the group chat pinged with the text screenshot. The rooftop filled slow, like air poured into a glass. String lights buzzed, and the city made everyone look kind. I picked a table near the rail so the skyline would frame me. Cass asked if I was ready to fix the story. I said I was born for nights like this. Mina said a short toast would reset the tone. I said a toast works when people hear the right words. I kept my smile wide so phones would like me. I posted a quick clip of the view and held the camera high. Jules sent a message asking if I wanted a joke about brave women and scared husbands. I told her to wait until I lifted a glass. She sent flames anyway. I put the phone away. Hands tell better stories than screens when a crowd is near. By sunset, our circle grew. A designer from another firm joined and asked where Miles was. I said he likes quiet spaces. I said quiet men need time to accept public wives. I made it sound caring. People laughed. Laughter is a leash if you hold it right. Victor glided out from the bar with 2 waters and a grin. He asked if I was ready for the trip energy. I said the hotel would boost my brain. He said the team would fly with me there. He tapped a glass with his finger like it was a bell. A chant rose from the far end. Toast, toast, toast. It rolled across the deck like warm air. Cass pressed a tiny glass into my hand. Mina held up her phone. I said, ambition is not a sin, and team chemistry is not a crime. I said grown people can share a flaw and share ideas without breaking vows. I said the internet is hungry but not wise. The circle cheered. Several phones pointed at me like little suns. I watched my own mouth shape the words on their screens and felt tall again. Halfway through, the elevator opened. Miles stepped out with Nora's booster seat looped on 2 fingers and a paper bag in the other hand. He stopped just outside the circle, like a guest at a party he had not planned to attend. He said he was dropping the seat since tomorrow's ride would be different. I said he could have left it at home. He said he preferred to hand it to me. His voice was even, almost soft. He looked at my face, not at the phones. I told him we would talk later when people were not celebrating. He nodded, set the booster by my chair, and walked back to the elevator. He did not touch my shoulder. He did not touch Victor. He left like a person closing a drawer. Mina whispered that his calm made her nervous. I said calm is performance too. I lifted my glass again and said, respect follows results. And I have results. I heard the line and loved it. People clapped. A stranger near the rail raised their phone and framed me with the skyline. The red light glowed. I turned my good side to it. This is management, I told myself. You steer the camera, you steer the memory. The chant ended, and chatter rose. Victor drifted closer. He asked if I wanted air by the river to cool off. He said the deck was hot for real talk. I said a walk would look normal and calm. Cass raised her brows. I said adults take walks. She did not argue. On the sidewalk, the air had a clean edge that made voices carry. The promenade lights flicked on. Victor asked how bad it was at home. I said Miles was holding our life hostage with systems and boxes. I said he was building a museum of rules. Victor said some men hide behind process. I agreed because it felt smart. He asked if the text could harm my role. I said only if people feared light. We reached the rail where the river moved like film. A group of tourists took turns with a selfie stick. One angled the phone toward us for a second, as if we were part of the view. I stepped back half a pace so the frame would read as distance. Victor leaned in to be heard over the wind. He said the hotel would have long corridors for thinking. I said I do my best thinking, with doors open. He laughed and said the team needed my spark. I heard the words and let them settle like praise on a shelf. My phone buzzed with a shared calendar sound. The title flashed before the lock screen took it. Paper drop 5:25 p.m. Old or new, I could not tell. The number stuck in my ear like a song. I told myself he was mailing taxes. I told myself paper drop was a cute name for postage. The air still felt different. We passed a busker, tuning a guitar. Each string pinged like a thought pulled tight. A mother with a stroller slowed as she passed us. She stared at my face, then at Victor's hand near my sleeve. I held my chin high. Chin up turns rumor into envy, I reminded myself. Victor asked if I would switch hotels if HR pushed it. I said, propriety is a word people use when they fear beauty. He said beauty needs proof. I said I provide results. He nodded, pleased with that math. We turned back toward the rooftop entrance. Across the street, a car waited at the curb pointing toward the exit. It was Miles's model and color. I told myself half the city had that color. I told myself he parks facing the street because he likes fast exits. I did not look long. Upstairs, the deck had softened. A server cleared glasses. Cass asked if the river helped. I said the air was perfect and the view was good for thinking. Mina showed me a message on her phone from a local page. A new post had my words typed under a still of me with a raised glass. The caption said, "Wife tells husband to accept hotel bonding." The comments formed fast, a pile of shiny and dull coins. I typed to Jules that angles lie. Jules replied that angles also tell stories. Victor thanked everyone for coming and said the trip would be magic. He touched my elbow like a coach. I told myself it was a work touch. Cass looked away. Mina did not. I smiled wider. If you look confident, people stop asking questions. I needed a small win before the night turned. I found a quiet corner and fixed my lipstick. In the mirror, I looked like a woman who knows what she is worth. I held that image a second longer than usual so it would stick. Then I checked my notifications. A thread titled "Follow-up" flashed and disappeared. It was from the shared family app. I tapped the screen and got nothing. I told myself he was reminding himself to buy glue sticks or batteries. I told myself the title did not mean anything heavy. I went back out and waved to a junior who always asks for advice. She asked how to handle travel gossip. I said to smile and say results matter. I said the rest is weather. She laughed and thanked me. I felt taller, then tired. It was time to leave, so I hugged Cass and Mina and said I would text when I got home. On the elevator ride down, a couple whispered about the rooftop toast. I held my chin up. Chin up is armor. In the lobby, the concierge lifted a hand. I smiled back like a queen on a calm day. Outside, the street lights made rain dots glow on the asphalt. I checked our garage lane. Miles's car sat at the mouth of the exit, nose pointing out. A single USB lay on the front seat tray with a strip of tape and today's date. I told myself he was backing up photos for the trip week. I told myself he had become a dad who loves labels. I told myself a lot of things. I went upstairs. The apartment was cooler than the hall. 2 mugs waited on opposite counters. I moved mine next to his and waited for the soft miracle. It did not come. He stepped out of the guest room with headphones around his neck. He said Nora was asleep and that we should keep voices low. I said the rooftop went well and that people were supportive. He said online jokes do not fix homes. I said homes break when men choose fear. He said our daughter needs quiet. He confirmed the school drop-off time again, like a line item. He looked at the clock. A soft beep came from his phone, the sound he uses for a reminder named meeting, personal. He turned the screen away. I walked to the wall planner and stared at the red circle 2 Fridays from now. I asked if we could brunch that day to show we were fine. He said he had other plans. I asked what plans. He said he would tell me when it mattered. He did not sound angry. He sounded settled. I went to the balcony door and watched my reflection in the glass. I told myself I was still steering. I told myself dignity is a coat you wear, even when the room is cold. My phone buzzed with a new local post, a short clip from the river, where I leaned toward Victor to hear him. The motion made the distance look smaller. The caption said, "Networking with perks?" I typed a laughing reply and did not send it. I closed my eyes and pressed my palm to the glass. Beliefs need bodies, I reminded myself. Then the hallway outside lit for a second and a camera bulb popped somewhere behind me on the deck. A camera flash popped near the rail as a stranger said they got it. Maris reserved the long table at the family restaurant, the one with crayons in cups and paper placemats that say, "Color me." The room glowed with other people's birthdays. I arrived a little late so I would look busy, not rude. Miles sat with Nora tucked close on the bench, her feet swinging like metronomes. Maris sat at the end with her calm posture, the kind that dismisses storms. I kissed the air and said the city had been loud, but we were fine. Maris said we were here to eat and keep the night gentle. I said gentle was my home setting and smiled so hard my cheeks felt like props. A cousin slid a phone toward me with a freeze frame from the rooftop. My glass high, the caption about hotel bonding. I laughed and said the internet loves drama. I said the toast had been about team chemistry, not husbands. He asked if Miles had been there. I said he prefers quiet spaces. The table shifted in tiny ways. Miles poured water for Nora and said the lemon slices looked like suns. He was speaking to her, not me, but I pocketed the warmth anyway. Bread baskets landed. Anise asked if Victor was joining us. I said he had clients and that off-sites run on prep, not plates. Maris asked if my post could pause for a week. I said humor keeps me sane. She said humor can bruise. I said bruises happen when people choose to see harm. The waiter placed plates. Silverware made safe noise. I used the noise like a shield. Nora looked up and asked if Daddy would have a new bedroom soon. I said, grown-ups sometimes take timeouts to think. She asked if timeouts mean moving. Miles said routines stay the same right now and that school would not change. I agreed fast and said our home is steady and loved. Maris's mouth formed a careful line. I wanted to shake it into a smile and hated wanting that. Leo slid into a chair beside me, late and warm. He asked with his eyes if I was steady. I said I was fine. He said a walk after dinner might help everyone. I said the park would be nice for Nora. Miles nodded. For a moment the table exhaled like a tired choir. A cousin scrolled and showed a new post from a local page. Victor leaning in at the river while I tipped my head. The still made the space look small. I said the wind was loud and people lean. I said angles lie when viewers want them to. The cousin said the caption asked a question. I said captions freeload on context. Leo cleared his throat and asked if we could keep tonight about family. I said we were. Nora drew on her placemat, then held it up. 2 houses side by side, both with yellow squares for light. She asked if she should draw 2 beds for me. The crayon broke in her hand. I said 1 bed was enough. Miles said the fridge at home had space for more art. Maris's eyes flicked to my phone as it lit. Jules had sent a draft caption about brave women and small men. I put the phone face down. Maris asked me to join her in the lobby for a minute. We stood under a mural of the skyline. She said she had seen the river still, and asked if I understood how Nora might feel seeing people laugh at her parents. I said, laughter protects us. She said quiet protects children better. I said silence is where lies grow. She said she would not debate, she would ask. She asked me to stop posting jokes about Miles for a while. I said I was defending my life. She said defense can feel like attack from a child's seat height. Her voice stayed soft. It still moved walls. Back at the table, the energy tried to imitate normal. Nora traced the lemon slice with her finger and asked if hotels smell like new pencils. I said they smell like new ideas. Miles said they smell like detergent and long hallways. I joked that he reviews carpets for a living. He did not smile. He cut Nora's chicken tenders into neat squares. We paid and walked toward the park. The evening air felt clean in that way that makes truth travel farther. The swings squeaked like old songs. Small dogs wove leashes into knots. Nora ran to the slide with her cousin. Maris followed at a grandmother distance, pretending to admire trees. Leo stood near Miles. They looked like a brochure for steady men. A neighbor from our building passed with a dog and slowed when she saw us. She asked if the rumors were true that we were separating. I said people love stories. She asked if the man from the rooftop was my coworker. I said he was my boss and that people misread closeness. She said angles teach as much as they lie. She walked on, leaving that sentence behind like a magnet note. I tried to make light talk. I told Miles the new park lights made the place feel safe. He said they had been installed last winter. I laughed too bright and said I live fast. He did not answer. Nora called for a push. We both reached. He stepped back and let me take the first push. Nora squealed and the sound felt like a receipt I wanted to keep forever. On the path home, our steps echoed in the stairwell like a slow timer. Miles unlocked the apartment. A thin new key on his ring glinted, unfamiliar. He saw me see it and looked past me. I asked if he had installed something. He said he had organized a storage cage for seasonal clothes. I said that sounded like a lot for shirts. He said it sounded helpful. His voice stayed level, like a line drawn with a ruler. Inside, the console table held a clipboard with a single word at the top, statement. I held it up and asked if he was writing a manifesto. He said it was just a header. He took it to the guest room. The door clicked. A hum started, soft and steady, like a shredder clearing its throat. I called out that shredders are for secrets. He said shredders are for clutter. I asked what the difference was. He did not answer. I went to our bedroom and opened his drawer. Shirts were folded to exact shapes. On the desk, his laptop showed a spreadsheet with initials and dates. I stepped closer, and the window minimized like a stage curtain. My face floated in the dark screen and looked like a stranger trying to persuade herself. I told myself he was trying to scare me with admin. Control has a dress code, and he had decided to wear it. In the kitchen, 2 mugs waited on opposite counters again. I shifted mine next to his, a little bridge. He came out, moved it back with gentle fingers, and thanked me for keeping the restaurant calm. He said, Nora slept better after running. I said I sleep better after laughter. He said we should aim for quiet. I said quiet is numb if it has rules. He confirmed tomorrow's drop-off like a calendar speaking through him. I told him I would handle it. He said he had it on his schedule already. My phone buzzed with a message from Cass, asking if dinner had been polite or nuclear. I typed that it was polite, and that Miles had the face people get when assembling flat-pack furniture. She sent a laugh and then a second message. Her HR had shared a reminder about off-hours conduct. She said she would lie low for a bit. I stared long enough for the screen to dim. Jules texted that she could post a joke about career wives. I typed that she should wait. She typed that silence reads as guilt. I typed that dignity reads as silence. She replied with a single dot and then nothing. I stood near the guest room door and listened. The shredder hummed once more, then stopped. A drawer slid. A phone vibrated twice. I imagined stepping in and demanding a real conversation. I rehearsed a line about his neat piles being punishment with a smile. I pictured his face, steady and centered, and I did not open the door. I hate losing the angle. Back in the living room, Nora's art bag spilled crayons. One was shaved down to a nub. I set it beside the clipboard spot and stared at the clean wood. I told myself I was the steady one because I noticed small things. The thought held for a breath and then broke. Miles stepped into the hall with his phone. the screen lit with a contact saved as a single emoji. He declined and slipped the phone into his pocket. He asked if I would keep Nora off my stories tomorrow. I said my stories are mine. He said Nora is not content. His voice did not rise. The sentence still moved furniture. I opened my gallery to distract myself. Between kid photos, a picture of a document flashed and vanished as the screen locked. I laughed too loud and said he was hiding treasure. He said he was organizing. He put his headphones on. The guest room door clicked again. I stood alone in the hallway, a person holding an empty bowl where applause used to be. I went to the balcony and checked my reflection in the glass. I told myself I was still steering. Dignity is a coat you wear even when the room is cold. The hallway light outside flicked on as someone passed. The neighbor's dog barked once and then quieted. My phone buzzed with a local post, a collage from the restaurant showing my lifted glass in a reflection behind our table. The caption asked if apologies were modern. I set the phone down and focused on breathing like an expert. I needed one line, one neat sentence to tuck the night into something I could carry. I did not find it. Nora asked if she needed 2 rooms while a neighbor slowed to stare at our door. The supermarket checkout belt crawled like a slow lesson. I put bright fruit on the belt and a box of party straws I did not need. Color says celebration. Celebration says control. Miles added plain yogurt, rice, freezer containers, stacked like a plan already finished. The cashier glanced at the screen of the customer behind us, where a local page showed my rooftop toast captioned Hotel Bonding. I said the internet loves drama. The cashier said the internet never sleeps. Nora tugged my sleeve and asked if party straws meant a party. I said they meant trying hard. Miles asked if we needed snack bars for school. I said I would handle lunches. He nodded, paid, and took the long receipt like a small banner he did not wave. In the car, his watch flashed a calendar ping. Notary Bay, 7:06 a.m. The numbers jumped like a dare. I said stamps are for people who need permission. He said stamps keep things clear. He parked facing the street again. I said his exits were dramatic. He said they were efficient. Nora asked if dramatic and efficient can be friends. I said I was proof they can. Back home, he sorted pantry items with quiet precision, labels forward. I set the party straws in a jar on the counter like a flag. He moved them into a drawer without comment. I said I might go live tonight to tell the truth and calm the rumor. He said I should not post about him or Nora. He added that we could use a co-parenting app for logistics if distance helped. I said procedures are paper cages. He said procedures protect when feelings don't. At the co-working lounge later, I sought a small win. Cass asked if I was okay. I said bright women always look wrong until later. Mina said HR had posted a reminder about off-hours conduct. I said reminders are for people without results. A junior asked if Victor would still room his team on one floor. I said the floor plan was a creativity boost, not a scandal. The room did not applaud. It just hummed. My phone buzzed. Jules sent a caption draft that called me fearless and men small. I typed that she should wait. She typed that silence reads as guilt. I typed that dignity reads as silence. She replied with a dot and nothing else. I told myself this was what maturity felt like, a choice you carry in your mouth until it softens. When I returned home for dinner prep, the console table held new order. 3 binders, home, auto, bank, sat in a neat row. Beside them, a thin binder labeled Utilities was thicker than bills ever need to be. I flipped it open and saw only generic dividers, content hid under tabs like quiet teeth. I laughed that he was auditioning for a label maker ad. He said he liked being able to find things. A laptop on the desk showed a clean desktop. Archive A and Archive B, like twin bookends. I said his computer looked like a hotel lobby. He said a lobby is easy to cross. He stepped into the hall to take a call with headphones on. His mouth moved without sound. A faint beep pricked the air when he finished, like a recording ending or starting. I stood in the doorway and asked if he was recording me. He said he was documenting life. I almost laughed. Documenting life is what I say I do online. The mirror hurt. Nora brought me a drawing of 3 stick figures. She asked if we could all live in one house with 2 light switches. I said yes. Miles said we would keep her routines the same. I said routines are easy when people believe in me. He did not reply. He put the drawing on the fridge with a single magnet like a seal. We needed printer paper, so he suggested a quick drive. In the parking garage, the air tasted like old rain and concrete. He opened the trunk. Labeled boxes sat in rows: household, auto, bank. A small tray held a single USB with today's date on a strip of tape. I lifted it with 2 fingers. He said it was just backup. I asked backup for what? He said life gets busy. He said it without edge, like a weather report. I replaced the USB as if it were hot. We swung by his office so he could drop something. After hours, hush swallowed our steps. At his desk, a spreadsheet breathed squares of initials and dates. He minimized the window when I leaned. His browser, reopened for a second, showed tabs he closed quickly: delivery tracking, storage unit options. Notary near me had been visited earlier, history still purple. I said he was building a museum of errands. He said errands build life. Nora traced letters on a scrap and asked if errands could be happy. He said errands make happy possible. On the way down in the elevator, my phone buzzed with a message from Victor, asking if I was ready to light the hotel on fire, in a good way. I stared at the screen and pictured the lobby where I would stride like a future. Miles asked if I could keep late-night messages minimal for a while. I said messaging is how modern teams move. He said he heard me. The doors opened with a soft ding. We stopped for ice cream to make the evening look kind. I told a story about hotel carpets and idea sprints. Nora asked if hotel hallways echo. I said hallways love heels. Miles said clouds belong outside. I smiled at Nora so she would think we were playing. Back home, the guest room held that faint toner smell again. On his laptop, a small cloud icon blinked. File uploaded successfully. He minimized it when I stepped closer. I asked if he was hiding treasure. He said he was organizing. I said organizing is theater. He said theater is what I post. The line sat between us like a bar. I tried one more tactic. I said I would go leave and tell the truth so the whispers stop. I said I would explain how career flirting is harmless when handled by adults. I said the crowd would see that he trusts me. He said I should not post about him. He said Nora should be off limits. He said we could schedule everything through a co-parenting app if I preferred distance. I said he was punishing me with calm. He said calm keeps children safe. I called my sister from the balcony. I said he was building a paper fort to trap me. Jules asked if he had raised his voice. I said no. She asked if he had threatened me. I said no. She said then I should stop giving the internet kindling. I hung up before she could say more. Inside, Nora fell asleep on the couch with a marker cap in her hand. I set the cap aside and felt tender for myself because I noticed small things. Miles placed a blanket over Nora and returned to the console table. He aligned the binders, then checked the wall planner. The red circle looked like a bullseye. I said we should brunch that Friday to show we were fine. He said he had plans. I asked if he would share. He said soon. My phone lit with a local post, a collage from the rooftop, my glass high, a reflection of Victor's grin. The caption asked if apologies were modern. I typed that apologies are for guilty people. I deleted it. I typed that ambition needs light. I deleted that too. I settled on nothing. Silence wrapped in posture. He picked up his keys. A new slim key glinted among them. I asked if the storage cage needed 2 locks. He said he liked having backups. He paused at the door, then turned back and confirmed tomorrow's drop-off time, the supermarket list for next week. and Nora's art night. He spoke like a checklist. I asked if we were okay. He said we would keep it civil. I said civil is a boring word. He said boring is safe for children. I wanted the last word. I said the internet would call him weak for hiding behind forms. He said the internet doesn't live here. He looked at me a long second, and something in his gaze felt like a closed door that still counted as kindness. He reached for the elevator button. I followed into the hall because I needed a scene I could win. I said, people respect a fighter. He said, people respect the truth. Then, in the quiet of the hallway, with the light flickering once, and the building air cool as a file room, he said he would handle it properly. He did not raise his voice. He did not need to. The elevator bell dinged while he said he would handle it properly. Office tower lobby, bright as a fishbowl. I came to tell Victor we would own the optics. Miles stepped off the escalator with that quiet posture. A stranger confirmed my name and placed papers in my hand. He stated temporary possession, interim finances, and a co-parenting app for all messages. He read today's pickup time and next week's schedule. I said this was petty. Miles said it was proper. Security asked if I needed a seat. Phones lowered. Mr. Pike logged the time. The pages felt colder than the floor. My voice did not arrive. He turned away like a man finishing a list. Papers touched my palm as the red camera light blinked.